I'm Donnie Manhattan, otherwise known as the Big Apple. Welcome back, everybody, to American Sunrise. All right, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Ukraine is ready to propose a new peace deal with Russia to the United States. Now, they aren't a big fan, as you might imagine, of the U.S. 20-point plan to end the war. And so they are coming back with their own version. They're expected to present that today. Zelensky says Ukraine will not cede any territory. President Trump says Zelensky didn't even read the U.S. plan. All right, let's bring in national security expert Dr. Rebecca Grant. She is president of IRIS Independent Research. Dr. Grant, great to have you on the show. President Trump says Russia, in essence, has the upper hand. And so I get the sense that he basically wants Zelensky to concede defeat here in some form or fashion. What is your sense? And what do you think moving forward with this new proposal by Ukraine, depending on what's in it, of course?
Well, Trump has told Zelensky he's got to agree to something by Christmas. My sense is the sticking points are, of course, about territory in the Donbas, particularly that territory that is ethnically Ukrainian and that the Russians have not taken despite all their efforts. And then, of course, about what security guarantees really look like. We know that economically, this whole package is a good deal for Ukraine, designed to move Ukraine forward and give them a path to peace and prosperity. But the territorial issues, of course, these are the sticking points.
Dr. Grant, the U.S. will allow export of H-200 AI chips to China. The move represents a major shift. The H-200 chips were previously barred under export controls. White House officials call it a balance between protecting national security and maintaining American leadership in AI. But critics warn it could boost China's tech and military capabilities. How concerning is this?
I'm not concerned with this particular set of chips. This is Trump catching up after Biden's policy, which was just to ban everything. A big national security goal for the U.S. is to have the U.S. AI tech stack, that's chips, software, cloud, dominate globally. So NVIDIA is basically selling, at this point, they're kind of the second or third or fourth best chips. And NVIDIA, to dominate global tech, our U.S. companies have to make sales. And that includes China. They're not getting the best Blackwell chips. And so this is not going to hurt our lead in AI, but it's going to give us more global market share. And that's where we compete with China.
There's concerning news coming out of the Middle East. Fox News has this headline, which reads, Israel unmasks Iran-directed Hamas cash network in Turkey as Ankara pushes for Gaza role. Exiled, Gazans apparently have used Turkey's financial infrastructure in order to move money for Hamas. The network also cooperates with Iran. What may be most concerning about this is the ties with Turkey, which is obviously considered a U.S. ally, but seems to now be complicit in helping Hamas move money and complicit in working with Hamas. That seems to me to be the most concerning part of all of this.
Right, that's got to end. Of course, Hamas had a backup plan. And Turkey is very pro-Islamist, pro-Palestine. They're involved, in the Gaza settlement. But they're going to have to do something about this. It's very embarrassing. I think they've quietly asked the Hamas guys to get out, go somewhere else. But if Turkey wants to remain that ally in NATO and in good standing and help out in Gaza, they cannot be supporting a shadow Hamas money network in Turkey. And I'm glad the Israelis have pointed it out.
Dr. Grant, let me circle back to Ukraine where we began, because I have a couple follow-ups on that. So you mentioned, rightly so, that Russia has not taken some of that land in the Donbas that apparently the U.S. wants Ukraine to give up. So why would that even be part of it, number one? And number two, what about the parliament, the Ukrainian parliament, and in terms of a vote of the people? Do they not need to approve any sort of land secession, if you will?
Yes, they do. And it is so painful because, I'd like to see every last Russian out of there. I think the loophole is going to be, stick with me here, a de facto not a de jure recognition of the boundary. So kind of freezing a line of contact wherever they set that line. But it's not, but the border on the map is still going to look the same. Such a diplomatic compromise. And of course, Russia, Putin was saying last week, oh, I'm going to take the rest of Donetsk. No, he's not going to do that. He's not going to get Kramatorsk. And that's what's so hard about that big request to take all that territory that he really can't take. And, in the end, Ukraine's going to have a long border to defend. They're going to need help from the U.S., tanks, air power, air defenses, all that to defend the border after the ceasefire.
So, a 20-second follow-up. So you're suggesting this would be like a demilitarized zone potentially or something along those lines? I mean, would Russia control it? It's a little unclear at this point.
Yeah, wherever that line ends up, it's going to have to be heavily defended so that Russia can't sweep into Kyiv in 2029. We know Russia remains a serious threat to Ukraine and to Europe, even if we get a ceasefire in Ukraine.
Dr. Rebecca Grant, always great to have you on the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doc.
All right, coming up, at this time of the year, many people suffer depression from seasonal affective disorder, also known as the winter blues. What are some good tips to limit the symptoms? We're going to share them next on American Sunrise. Everybody stick around.